Welcome back to LePodcast episode 47. As always, you're here with Hoop, Saney, and the infamous ZZ Huncho. I have to issue an apology for my actions over these last two episodes. It's because of the immaturity of my co-hosts that I cannot speak words out of my mouth that don't translate the way I'd like them to. I've had too many of these pause moments for my comfort. And I'm promising now, these next 5, I'm going clean. I will talk slower if I need to. I am not going to have you guys hold up this podcast and make it unnecessarily inappropriate, because this is a family show talking strictly basketball. I'm going to watch my step. So thankfully, I'm not doing an extended intro. I just want to introduce the lineup. We're talking about LeBron James possibly breaking the scoring record, 89 points away from the title. We're also talking about tank commanders in the NBA. We'll explain that later, but it's guys who are the best at losing games as the first option. We'll go over the All-Star draft and how it would be hilarious for, in this new draft format, someone like James Harden to get drafted last while he's standing at center court. And lastly, some more Q&A. So, Saney, LeBron James is scheduled to break his scoring record against your Thunder. Can you give us more info on that?
Well, I know the way you introduced it is as if we're talking about LeBron and the scoring record. That's not our main premise here. We've talked about LeBron breaking it before, and it's more than obvious that he's going to end up breaking it. The main focus here is the pricing. Number one, Lou Dort. LeBron's going to be in the torture chamber the whole night, so I don't even think he's cracking double digits in points. So don't expect for that record to be broken that night. But number two, let's talk about the pricing of these tickets. That's kind of the whole point of this segment here. Now, take this number with a grain of salt, because it is not telling me if I am in USD currency or Canadian currency. The only way I can find out is if I continue to check out, and God forbid I do that, because I do not want to click a button by accident and have to sell my house.
Hey guys, I'm flying OKC.
It's in Los Angeles, but
my fault.
So the most expensive resale I've seen for a ticket, and being this is courtside, but not even like courtside on the sidelines, like where the cameramen sit, $100,000 per ticket. $100,000, 6 figures. That is a down payment on $1 million home to watch LeBron James play basketball for 48 minutes. I don't know about you guys, but I would rather just watch it on a TV at that point. Some people have so much money they don't know how to spend it, so maybe. But the majority of tickets, and not like insane tickets, like decent tickets, are going for 5 figures, high 4 figures. For example, me and Hoop, when we went to the Knicks game, we sat in seats that were, maybe like 10 rows up from courtside. Like they were close, but they weren't like.
No, not 10 rows up from courtside. I mean, so there was a section right behind the courtside seats, like not the front row, but there's maybe 10 rows of that. Then there's the section higher than that, so we're like a little elevated, but we're close.
It's still, if you count the rows, there's 10 rows.
Behind.
There's about 10 behind. Yeah, go look at the videos. You don't think because it's close, but you don't think so, but it's still 10 behind.
Oh,
bro,
wow.
If you're like 3 or 4 rows behind, you're talking to the players. You're very close. You got to think about how much spacing is there between rows. It's still
all right,
very close.
Let's move. Yeah.
Let's continue. Those seats are going for about $20,000 each. I'm going to give you guys a quick would you rather before I get into a little rant here on these ticket prices. But let me ask you guys this. Would you rather watch LeBron James have a chance at breaking the scoring record? It's not guaranteed he breaks it. Or would you rather a brand new 2023 Kia Soul? Because they're roughly the same price. Roughly, you're spending the same amount of money. Are you taking a 2023 brand new off the lot Kia Soul, or are you watching a Lakers game for 48 minutes?
What color is it?
You get to choose, man. It's off the lot. You get to choose, man. It's off the lot. It comes with the whole package,
I'm taking the car, bro.
It comes with a rear view camera, bro.
You know what's crazy is as much of a chance there is for LeBron to drop 55. There's a good chance that he goes 5 for 28 and the Thunder win by like 25. Like, could you imagine, bro? Could you imagine?
You guys got to think too. The Thunder turn up in LA. I'm not even saying that as a Thunder fan. Do you remember Shea pulled up from half for a game winner? the last time they played, bro? Like, bro, Shea is like that in Los Angeles. And I'm telling you right now, he's getting put in the torture chamber. There is no way Dort is letting that man drop anything above 15.
Bro,
You guys might think I'm joking, but remember, you come back to this episode when LeBron James doesn't break it, and all those poor people spent all of their money when they could have went home with a brand new 2023 Kia Soul.
Here's my thing.
This reminds me.
I was going to answer
Go
it,
ahead,
but
Honcho.
okay, thank you, sir. I'm taking the car. There's no doubt about it. My first car that I ever got was a 2008 Kia Sportage. Within like a year and a half, that thing turned to dust. And so if I have an opportunity to get a new one, I might as well go from a Sportage to a Soul. I'll take it. Give me a green one. Put a big Z on the front of it. But anyway, on top of that, I'm also taking into account that there is a chance that, like you said, he doesn't break the record. He plays poorly and the Thunder win. There's also a chance that he does break the record and the Lakers still lose. So it's like you mean to tell me you spent all that money to watch this historical moment and you can't really bask in it fully because the Lakers lost? I'd be kind of mad about that. I mean,
that's so true.
You know,
If the Lakers lose,
like
that's
you lost at home.
If the Lakers
like,
lose, that would be such a
on national television. Like I paid all this.
Oh,
come on, man,
that'd be hilarious.
That'd be such.
I'll be
but,
straight up though. Like if I were to only pay, let's say $100 for the tickets, and I'm just going to the game, I'd rather see him not break it because like I don't like the Lakers. I'm not a huge LeBron fan. Like
so you're just a hater. This guy just said he's a hater. You could have just started the sentence with "I'm a hater." You did not need to explain.
The disrespect.
I also like the
hater.
Thunder. I like the Thunder.
Hey, respect.
Like,
respect.
So you're telling me like that wouldn't be like a blast to watch him go like 5 for 29?
I want him to lose. Oh, buddy,
that would be hilarious, bro.
I'm sitting there. I'm doing everything I can, bro, to make sure they lose. I'm doing some extra prayers, bro. I'm sitting there full gear. I got my shorts and my jersey on, bro. I'm acting like I'm on the team. I'm gonna call Westbrook, tell him, yo, bro, take one for the team.
Literally praying on someone's downfall is actually crazy.
It's hilarious. But I want to do a quick rant on these tickets just before we move on, because I saw this post. And it was about the Super Bowl. It wasn't about this specific game, to be fair, but same idea. And honestly, it's so true. And I never thought of it like this. Things like the Super Bowl or games like this where like LeBron's going to break the record, I feel like the people who run these events, the NBA, the NFL, whatever, it's no longer about the fans. It's about a big social event for like the higher class to like just go and show out, because you have to sell a kidney just to be able to attend things like the Super Bowl or things like this Lakers game that's not even guaranteed for LeBron to break the record. And I get it's a big deal, and if you want to raise the prices, that's fine. But especially in this economy where we're probably going to go through a recession very soon, you're making people literally have to sell organs to go watch LeBron play the same basketball he's been playing for 20 years of his career. I don't get it. Like, let's be honest. LeBron's going to break the scoring record. Whoop-de-doo, he's going to have like maybe 5 minutes of cheering, and on the Jumbotron, it's going to be like LeBron graphics and all that stuff. And it's going to go back to the same exact game. Everybody's spending all that money. I'm telling you right now, man, I hate to be a party pooper. I would love to go watch that game. But for $20,000 for an average seat to watch him break it, and then you're like, oh, I got to watch LeBron James break that record, and you're going to bus home. You're not even going to take that 2023 Kia Soul home. That's different. See, that's a different type of, and I hate to say this, that's a different type of meat riding right there. To spend that much money on a man you have never met in your life, to watch him get to glory when you could have watched him on TV in the comfort of your own home, and you're home and there's negative $20,000 in your account because you decided to flex to people that you were at the game. LeBron broke the record. See, if it was $1,000, $2,000, something like that, I'd be like, okay, it's still a little on the higher end for 48 minutes of basketball, but I understand it. This is just ridiculous, and this is just a money grab by the NBA. The script is working perfectly in their favor. I don't know. It's the same thing with the Super Bowl, an event that happens every year. You have to spend all this money just to attend. And it's like, let's be honest, like it's the diehard fans that are the ones watching from home, right? The ones that aren't bringing in an extra $20,000 to go spend on a game. And you're restricting them to go from watching it.
Yeah, another thing too,
I don't like the idea.
You gotta look at the would you rather we said before the show. You gotta look at the would you rather, like Sadie just brought up. You gotta look at it just like you would look at dinner with Jay-Z or $500K in your bank account overnight. Like in this regard though, it's a.
Was that an actual question?
It was. Rap proposed it, and everybody like it went viral. Oh my god!
Everybody. Wait, so this was like a tweet?
Yeah, it was like Rap TV. They always
bro. Was anyone
choosing the dinner with Jay-Z? Was anyone?
Yes.
Choosing?
Yes. What?
Yes.
That's the worst part.
Yes. Oh my God. So you got to think about that. You got in comparison.
Wait, you said 500 bands.
500K
Yeah.
or dinner with
Yeah.
Jay-Z. What would you pick, Hoop? 500K or dinner with
Bro,
Jay-Z?
I'm taking 500K and I'm eating my Lunchable at
But
home.
people would be like,
Jay-Z can actually.
I would take $5,000.
people would say, "Oh, I need dinner with Jay-Z because
I
you
might
could pick the
take
mind of the moment."
$1,000.
No, might. I am. Do you know how much $1,000 is for one dinner with a guy you've never met?
Hold
Here's
up,
the thing. Here's the
I
thing.
might go
Humans-
$500.
I agree, because here's the thing. Humans tend to like fantasize these celebrities and these athletes in their head, and they paint this picture of them because of how they show themselves to the media and stuff. Bro, 99% of these guys are, excuse my language, dickheads. I don't want to go have dinner with some random guy I've never met in my life because I watch him on TV. I don't understand this fascination of like literally throwing your dignity and your pride down the drain to defend a man's life that you've never met ever. I make jokes with like the Westbrook stuff, for example, but I've never taken it to like a super far extent. I just say he's a top 5 point guard, and I'm like, oh, he's my favorite player, all that stuff. Yeah. If somebody came up to me and was like, yo, you want $1,000 or dinner with Westbrook? I'm like, why the hell would I want to have dinner with Westbrook? What's he gonna tell me? What's he gonna tell me that I don't already know about?
Just go out there.
Oh, I average a triple double. I average a triple double. Did you know I have a triple double? I average a triple double. Oh, thanks. Oh, did you know I shot 5 for 27?
About Russ's career than Russ.
I know more about Russ than he does. I'll bring up games that he forgot about. I will bring up games that he forgot about. He's gonna look at me and be like, "Why am I here? Like, what is he gonna tell me? I'm not an inspiring NBA player, and I need advice on what to do on the court. I'm not trying to start a fashion brand because I know Russ is trying to do that, and I'm not hating on Russ by saying any of this. But I will take that $1,000 any day of the week.
Imagine Saney as Russell Westbrook's manager. I feel like that would be absolutely bonkers. He would know what was best for Russell Westbrook's career over Russell Westbrook. And then he'd constantly put that. He would be driving Russell Westbrook around in a mini SUV with that dangling in the.
Wait, I don't know why I just saw this. One more 30-second thing, and then we'll go to the next segment. If you out there,
I got something else to add, but let's
cool.
Let's
keep perfect. Rolling. But if you are out there, and I think it's so dope when people hang up jerseys of players they met that are signed. If you're the type of guy to buy a signed jersey off of somebody, you didn't meet the player yourself. You bought the signed jersey. You guys see all the auctions where it's like, LeBron James signed jersey for $10,000, and you buy it. Bro, are you actually kidding me right now?
Hold up.
Are you kidding me right now?
Hold up, because there's people who are smart out there that will buy it. For example, LeBron's signed autograph will increase in value over time.
Sure, I'm talking about people that buy it to hold it as like a sentimental thing. Bro, the whole point of somebody getting like a signed jersey is like, oh, I met this guy, he gave me this jersey, he was so cool. Like, I watched him my whole life. That's awesome. I'm not hating on that. But like, I'm not going to go look up a Russell Westbrook signed jersey and buy it and hang it in my room. Hell no. Somebody else got that signature. What did I do for that signature? I just paid 10 times minimum the amount of what the jersey would have been for a guy I didn't even meet.
Not to mention the fact that some of these auctions be going kind of wild with like Steph Curry's mouthpiece being like on the bro, what? What are you doing with your life?
Wait, that's
actually
man.
I'm pretty sure.
Man, and Drake auctioned off Draymond Green's lint or Steph Curry's lint. I mean, in his hair.
Wait, he actually did?
Yes, on eBay.
For how much?
It went in the 5 figures.
It was a lot.
Oh,
5 figures, bro.
$20.
Somebody, Michael Jordan's underwear.
Michael
Jordan's underwear was put on an auction once, bro. It's weird. Like, bro, I'm telling you, like that is a different.
I gotta
level
get an old
of
pair
meat writing. Some people actually like
take pair of boxers and just
some people take their obsession with players and celebrities too far. It's weird. But if you want to do your thing, Hoop, and then we'll continue.
The last thing I wanted to add to this LeBron conversation was what would be the coolest way for him to break the record in terms of what kind of bucket he were to get as he takes a sip from his 2-liter soda can.
I would love for him to hit a fadeaway on the, if you were to watch on TV, the far side, not the side closest to you. If you're watching on TV, on the far side near the baseline, because that was where he made his first shot ever in the NBA.
Oh, so we're talking like a normal fadeaway?
Normal, like the same shot he hit in Sacramento. Remember that jumper he hit? It wasn't really like a fadeaway, I guess, but his first ever basket in the NBA was a jumper. Far side, if you're watching on the TV, baseline, pulled it in Sacramento, banged it. I want to see that exact same shot.
I think that would be cool if it was his last shot ever. I think for this one, I want to see like the stare at the ball from the logo and just pull that thing.
But what if he misses?
It doesn't matter. It's LeBron. At that point,
I'd laugh
anyway. LeBron's probably gonna laugh if he misses that too.
I'm gonna laugh either way.
He would be like, screw it. They know it's like.
A dunk would
This
be
is
cool.
I was about
A
to say
dunk would
I
be
want to
cool.
see a LeBron James fast break tomahawk. That's what I want to see. We've seen it in Cleveland in his young years. We saw it in Miami. We saw it in Cleveland again. We saw it in LA. So I would want to see it just one more time for a punctuation on I am officially like your favorite player's favorite player. Like, get off my nuts. Like, yes, I'm here.
You know what? You know what he should do? He should do a Kareem Skyhook.
No. That's too
That would
petty.
be
That's
so
too petty.
tough.
If I'm Kareem, I'm fighting you,
No,
bro. That's
you
my
have.
move. That's my move. I did that. No. Let me you gotta let the
Tell
you
me,
gotta let the
tell
old
me that
people
would
die.
not be the best way to do it,
No, it'd
though.
be cool. It'd be cool. But if
Bro,
I'm Kareem,
everything I've heard from Kareem is
we
that
are
he's a
boxing.
jerk. Kareem is
You're
not a
right.
good person.
And imagine he's just running back and he just flips off the camera as a celebration.
Like, no, imagine if Kareem is courtside for this moment and he does that and he doesn't tell him.
Oh,
and
he won't
doesn't
be.
te-
He's not even watching that game.
Right? He's gonna be chilling at home with the kids, mad and all that, just swamping in just anger and sadness. But if LeBron James, if I'm Kareem and I'm sitting at home with my family and I see you do my skyhook and I'm not at the game and you know I'm not at the game, it's on site with my 82-year-old ass. It's on site. I don't care. I don't care about none of that. That is disrespectful. Because Wilt Chamberlain, remember, Wilt Chamberlain was salty when Kareem broke the record. Wilt Chamberlain was mad. He turned it into a physical, it was like envy, jealousy, all that. It was straight beef. And Kareem was like, what you mad at me for? I was good at basketball. So I don't know. I feel like Kareem is still going to be salty a little bit that it's LeBron because it wasn't the hook shot.
No, a lot of it. Kareem is just not everything I've heard about Kareem is that he's a very bitter
Jealous
person.
Yeah.
But he's been like that since the 80s,
So
bro.
I feel like
stopped
he should do
liking.
the skyhook.
I stopped.
I
stopped liking Kareem as a person ever since the whole stuff he said about Kyrie came out. His opinions on it and stuff. It's like, bro, come on, stop trying to tell a grown man what to do.
Yeah, bro.
All right, that's a good segue into our next topic. Later on today, you guys who are listening right now, you'll have seen this video by now. I'm making a top 10 best tank commanders in NBA history, or more so modern history. A tank commander is someone on a bad team that kind of keeps the game exciting, but they always find a way to lose. A perfect example would be the victory lap 2016 Kobe, when he shot 35% from the field in 66 games with Nick Young and Jordan Clarkson. So other guys who are tank commanders in the league right now, you got maybe a KPJ, a Jalen Green. Obviously, they're not as prominent as they once were. You used to have guys like Al Jefferson be the best player on a team. Are there any tank commanders that pop into your mind as some of the best?
My GOAT tank commander, in my time of watching basketball, the GOAT, what I'm telling you, the greatest tank commander of all time to your description. And because this guy always lost. Every season in and season out, this man got better and lost more games. I've never seen anything like it. Kemba Walker and the Charlotte Hornets. Kemba Walker is the GOAT of tank commanding because that man, I've heard him be in the top 3 point guards discussion in the league at one point, and he did absolutely nothing. There was points. What was it? The year before he went to Boston, he went dummy that season, bro. He was dropping 60. He was hitting game winners left and right. The step back, he was nasty to watch, bro. But then the final score was 106-84, and Charlotte was the 84. It's bro, his second best player was Jeremy Lamb, and he was just having fun with it. And he made $100 million, so kudos to him. But he's the GOAT tank commander, in my opinion. Because every other tank commander, it seems like they've at least went to the playoffs and had some sort of run. I've never seen that.
The only issue is so I'm talking more so a season or two. You can there's definitely guys with extended tank commanding history, but I'm talking guys that are naturally not winning players. I feel like Kemba Walker in general is a somewhat of a winning player. He might not
I don't
be
think he is.
No,
not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Go look at his history. The only time he's ever had a good winning season was with the Celtics, and it was the Celtics, and he played like trash. He played like trash. Think about it, bro. Think about Kemba Walker's history with Charlotte. His first time going to the playoffs was in 2014 as an 8th seed, got swept by the Heat, didn't see the playoffs again until 2016, got beat by the Heat without LeBron James and an old Dwayne Wade. Chris Bosh got injured that season with his blood clot. It sucks to be him, but Dwayne Wade was their best player in 2016. 2016, they still lost in 6 games. They didn't even go to 7. 2017, I don't even remember because nobody does. And I could say the same thing about every other season. When has Kemba Walker ever won? When has Kemba Walker ever been 10 games over 500 with the Charlotte Hornets? Has he ever had a 51 season with the Charlotte Hornets? I'm genuinely asking.
Don't think he's.
Has he
I
ever
don't
done
think
that?
so. I genuinely don't think so.
Has he? He's hasn't. You will always see a lottery pick player get drafted to Charlotte every season.
I only remember Charlotte being good in that 2015 year. I just remember that D Wade series where he was going back and forth with the dude in the purple shirt.
No, 2015. It was 2016, and they were not good.
It was the series where Wade was going back and forth with the dude in the purple shirt courtside. That's the only thing I remember. But I remember that series mainly because of D Wade winning it in the end, and me saying to myself back then as a dude in 8th grade, what, can Kemba actually contend? Because Kemba's younger than Wade, so like maybe he can. And then he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
I'm going to list off real quick in 30 seconds. I'm going to list off the Bobcats record ever since they went to the playoffs for the first time in 2014. I don't even want to talk about their tanking seasons, but I'm not going to count them because they were tanking. Okay, first time they go to the playoffs, 43-39. Second season, 2014-2015, 33-49. The season with Miami Heat, their best season, 48-34, sixth in the NBA Eastern Conference. 2016-2017, 36-46. 2017-2018, 36-46. 2018-2019, this was like the Kemba year. You remember that? This was like, oh, Kemba's insane. 39-43, finished 9th in the East. 2019-2020, 23-42. I think Kemba left by that season, but Kemba was an all-star starter and went 39-43 and finished 9th. And you're telling me he's a winning player? Bro, come on.
Well, there's a difference because the Hornets just suck. So, like, there's a difference between winning in spite of someone and winning because of someone. The Tank Commanders I'm talking about, there's like a trend. Kobe was not a winning player in his retirement year. He was just going out chucking shots. John Wall on the Rockets, when he was playing with DeMarcus Cousins in 2021, that is the ultimate Tank Commander. They were not winning anything
Jalen Green
with him.
currently.
It was just shot chucking, of course. I got Aaron Aflalo in those early 2010s Magic years. He was averaging like 18 a game with like a young Vucevic. He was their best player, just chucking shots. Jarrett Jack on the early Hornet squad was like the only sign of life. Dennis Schroeder in the 2018 Hawks pre-Trae Young. I got Andre Drummond post All-NBA when he was like 2019, 2020, before they remodeled to Blake Griffin and Jeremy Grant. Harrison Barnes on the Mavericks before Luka. That was awful. Brandon Knight on the 2014 Bucks when they had like Larry Sanders.
Bro also
Commanders that I thought of.
Whiffed a wide open game winning layup. At that point, all Milwaukee fans.
No, that's the definition of tank commanding.
Probably were like, bruh, get him out of here. What are we doing? Like, you broke it down like that. I thought you meant guys who were still gonna at least put on a show for tanking teams. So in my head, I thought to Devin Booker when I was in like middle school and he dropped 70 and lost. Like I knew for a fact that no matter who else was on this team, they sucked. But Devin Booker was going to at least give me 25 or more. So I tuned in to maybe watch that. Maybe watch somebody try to outshoot an entirely inferior basketball team. Something like that. But I see your point. That just immediately made me think to Jalen Green. Because the Rockets, like, Jalen Green is the type of player that you see on numerous AAU tournaments. In numerous AAU tournaments. He is a AAU prototype. He is the blueprint. That is like, but it's hilarious. I've seen Jalen Green take more contested shots than uncontested shots this year. But that's his thing, it seems to be. And he's just gonna keep the fact. Who was the dude? Was it a Kogi? I don't know who it was. Whoever was that blocked him, that stuffed him. The snatch block.
And then, that's Josh Okogie.
And then going all the way, like that play rings in my head every time I think of Jalen Green now. Until he changes that for me. Because that was what I was expecting to happen for somebody who doesn't give a damn if they win, lose, or draw. Like, he just doesn't care.
Bradley Beal.
That's a perfect
That's one. A good one.
Bradley Beal.
That's a very good one.
What did you say earlier? You said something about Bradley Beal.
Unfortunately, the Wizards...
and his scoring titles. Were you talking about his scoring titles before the show?
Before the show, I was just saying how Bradley Beal has one of the more fraudulent scoring titles. Not because he's not a good scorer, but because it just makes no sense in reference to winning. He was just putting up buckets. Bradley Beal is the ultimate tank commander if the Wizards would let go of mediocrity and just try to tank. He's just one of those guys that would be fun to watch.
He averaged 30 points per game 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, bonkers.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But he's him.
Hey, he went up in points per game when Westbrook came beside him. That's all I got to say.
Westbrook
Higher
Wizard year is
efficiency too.
underrated.
Went from 30 points per game on 45%, on 31, on 48, 49%, man. That's the Westbrook effect.
What's
I
the
swear to God.
Kyle
That's the
Kuzma
Westbrook effect.
Bro, the Wizards won like
He has
6 in a
22
row,
points.
by the way. The Wizards
What?
are no, yeah,
You said they
no, they're
won.
like 9 seed
This
right
is
now.
Bradley Beal's only season ever shooting over 50% at 51%.
Only season ever?
The Wizards are underrated, but they're not
Hell
going
yeah,
anywhere.
that's the thing.
Underrated as in oh, they're not a top 10 lottery pick. They're gonna be top 14.
The
That's
way
the type of underrated we're talking
the way
about.
the league is, bro.
That's the type
We got to
of
move on to
underrated
the
we're
Q&A
talking about.
though.
Ladies and
All right,
gentlemen, welcome back to the most must-see part of the entire freaking show. The part where you, the fans, ask us, the boys, questions that we will respond to. You know the segment. It is called Le Q&A, presented by Chalkboard HQ. I forgot to do that last time. Guys, don't sue me. I love you all. Anyway, today's question, first question, comes from G-Money24. He actually gave us double questions, but we're going to get to... actually, we're going to go with the first one, and then we can get to the second one because that's going to take a little bit longer. So the first one is, I think we've kind of touched light on this before, but I feel like we probably can touch light on it again. He said, what would you like to see changed in All-Star Weekend? Mainly the selection process and dunk contest. So we had a segment that we were going to talk about earlier that revolved around the selection. So this could be a good way to kind of play both sides.
Yeah. So obviously the new draft process is they're going to be out on the court right before the game, like after they shoot around, and it's just going to be two captains pick their teams and they walk over to the bench. We were talking about how funny it would be because remember, Joel Embiid is not a starter. They have to pick the starters first and then they go to the reserves. How funny it would be if he was the last pick and then ends up winning MVP. Because if people spite him, like we saw it with James Harden,
Joel Embiid.
Imagine.
I think he's the first pick. If he's the last pick off the reserves, at worst he's the second pick. Like if he's not the first guy taken, he's the second guy. And I could see the first guy being like Shea as the first pick for the reserves. If Joel Embiid is not taken first, that's just some hater activity. That is some hater activity. I think it's absolutely hilarious the way they're going to do this draft thing, because as much as it shouldn't matter because you're an NBA All-Star, who cares? I really feel like some egos are going to get hurt. I really feel like there's going to be a player out there who gets his ego hurt. For example, in 2018, I remember Kevin Love was the last pick. He didn't care because he doesn't have an ego. He shouldn't have even been an All-Star. He was a replacement, injury replacement. Kevin Love, 2018, hilarious. But there's going to be a guy, like, for example, the James Harden thing. You think James Harden didn't watch that draft when Kevin Durant and LeBron both didn't want him, and he wasn't like, yo, what the hell? Like, there has to be, like, some sort of beef that, like, stirs up. And just to see a guy who's going to have his, like, hands behind his back, like he's listening to the national anthem, just, like, kicking the court, waiting to get picked.
Yeah, they're just staring at their shoes.
Yeah,
Like,
staring at his shoes. Like,
imagine if the way that the All-Star game is done today would have been done back in like 2016, 2018, like the way that the All-Stars can pick. So imagine if the first, because it seems to be like it could be a first seed thing, like that could really dictate if you're a captain or not. So imagine, like, just as hypothetical, just imagine the Raptors are the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Somehow, some way, DeMar DeRozan gets voted All-Star captain. But then, when it comes to the night that he has to pick, Kyle Lowry's sitting there like hands behind his back, cheesing, trying to get picked first. And then DeMar's like, how many guys do you think? No, think about this. How many guys do you think DeMar DeRozan should pick ahead of Kyle Lowry before he actually does pick Kyle Lowry? Like, that's hilarious to me.
He would pick him first, though. It's the same thing with Giannis and Chris Middleton. I remember Chris Middleton got picked first by Giannis, and I was like...
But you know what's funny? I really think that, I mean, if I was Adam Silver, I would instigate this like as much as possible. I would say you're not allowed to say the dude's name. That there's going to be an announcer that picks, because I just want it to be point at someone. The whole reason being, if you point at someone that you want and the wrong person walks over, you got to tell them to go back. That's what I want to see on Twitter, bro. You point to Embiid and then like Shea walks out. It's like, nah, bro, go back. I want Embiid. And then the announcer's like, Joel
They actually
Embiid.
do so much with this. It's hilarious. Like, they could, if they really tried, if Kamish really tried, he could make this even more entertaining. Because the thought that they're picking prior to, like, and you just got to deal with whatever it is. Like, you don't even have time to be like, hey, bro, why you ain't pick? Like, you're just like, nah, bro, we got to go. Like imagine Joel's like, why didn't you pick me? And then Giannis is just like, I got to go, buddy, and then he just leaves. Like that'd be absolutely hilarious to me.
It's also funny how like because on the show they'll have I remember last year it was like LeBron and KD, and they're explaining their picks. So whoever it was, let's say it was Rudy Gobert. Oh, I need some interior defense. Give me Rudy. But then when you're in front of everyone, if they're gonna still give them the mics and they still have to like explain their picks, and it's like, oh, I want interior defense, and it's like they're not gonna be there. But let's say it's like Gobert and Sabonis. Like I want Sabonis. Like just the fact that
I'd be like, Joel, I want some free throws.
I just want to watch it.
We might need some free throws. Then he comes over. All right, so the next question, I'll hit you with another one. That's how it started. That's been bothering the hell out of him. Same from G Money. What are your thoughts on the older generation of NBA players / media claiming so and so would dominate in today's era?
You muted your mic by accident.
This is actually a hot. This is actually a hot
talking
topic.
to me?
Sorry, but yeah.
No,
so,
Z
but
muted
what do you guys think about that? Sandy, you were about to spit, so go ahead.
I don't hate it. I mean, it depends on the person or the player they say would dominate in this era. Like if an old head was like, "Yo, Jordan would be dropping 30," I'd be like, "Yeah, he would." It really depends. I know I'm gonna be like that. Like I know in 20 years, 30 years, I'm gonna tell kids, "Yo, that man wouldn't be able to handle Jaylen Brown." Oh, you think that guy's nice? He ain't nice like Zach LaVine. Like I'm gonna always just be a hater. That's just the best part about being a human is being a hater. Like let's be honest. Like I don't know. Like I don't hate it. It depends, bro. Like if somebody comes up to me and is like Antoine Jameson would be a starter in this year's All-Star, I'd be like, all right.
That's what I want to get to because I've heard people say Rasheed Wallace, specifically Rasheed Wallace, guys that are ahead of their time would quote unquote dominate in this league. I've heard other people say
Absolutely
it with
not.
Maravich and West based on their skill set as opposed to their actual domination in their era. It's based on their skill set. They would dominate in this league. The only people that I accept would dominate in this league like off rip are Shaq and Kobe because they played in a modern enough NBA.
Not Jordan?
I don't know. Because I don't know if he would.
Hold
what
on.
are you talking about?
Hold
the
on.
NBA is completely different today, bro.
Hold on.
No,
on.
bro.
Yeah,
nah, you're
you don't
treading
even
into
wanna go
territory
there,
you don't want to tread
come
into,
on,
bro.
man.
Do you really listen? No. I'm gonna give you the opportunity because I've said some things that I don't actually
Because
agree with. I'm just speaking in the moment.
I said
I want you to wait. I want you to
rephrase
double down.
myself. Yeah,
I want you to double down.
I
You
will
would
say
take
what
Shaq or
Hold
Kobe
up.
over Jordan
Hold
right now
up.
in
I
this
said-
NBA.
No. Because I'm saying for people who say that this said player will dominate in this NBA.
Okay.
The only times where I will fully accept it and like take it as truth without having to dive for research would be Shaq and Kobe because they played in a modern enough NBA to the point where I can visually see it translate into today's league.
So you
Jordan
would
played
take
with different
Shaq
rules.
or Kobe.
Jordan played with different rules. I'm not saying he wouldn't dominate. I'm just saying it's way too much of a translation as opposed to Kobe seamlessly playing in today's NBA.
Sure.
Shaq seamlessly playing in today's NBA.
I would. If I had to choose a player that would dominate, if I
would probably choose Jordan too. But I'm saying
Jordan.
there's different factors.
Because when
I don't even think about the factors when it comes to Jordan, though. Like, you don't even think about them. You just don't even think about
so, like, what about like
that's
Wilt?
actually a topic of discussion. So let me ask
Wilt's
you.
Jordan.
Let me ask you this question.
Do
you think with guys
Jordan.
like Wilt Chamberlain? Because here's how I think about it. Like guys like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain dominating the league the way that they did back then are accustomed to a lot of things. Like Sandy said, 8 teams in the league. Like we got to look at it from that perspective. We got to look at the centers that they're matched up against that are outside of the two of them, and maybe an occasional appearance from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But when I look at guys like Bill Russell, I think to myself, would Bill Russell be considered? Because back then, bro was considered a top 3 player in the game. But you put him in this era, where would he fall? Would he be like and rest in peace, rest your soul, Bill Russell, you know what I'm saying? None but respect. But would Bill Russell be like a great elite role player in terms of like rebounding and defense? Like Rudy Gobert. Look at Rudy Gobert and what he's doing. You mean to tell me Bill Russell can't do that? You mean to tell me Bill Russell can't do it better? Like, you know?
Well, yeah, I made a video on this. There's 2 ways to look at it, and I guess this will clarify my blasphemous Jordan take that was
about to go viral. Yeah,
that was about to happen, about to go viral. you could obviously have them grow up in this era where Bill Russell is still the same athletically, but he gets to play in high school and college like these other guys are doing and experience the same trends. You're not just transporting him from 1960. I think if you were to transport him and give him nice shoes, he could play in the NBA. He'd be a role player. But he's clearly the athlete enough to be able to do it. Because there's plenty of guys in the NBA who just don't provide anything offensively. I made a video and people were saying like he would be a D3 college player. It's like, do you not seen like Mitchell Robinson? Like he does nothing offensively except grab a rebound and dunk the ball. That's what Bill Russell would be doing. And then on defense, he's probably better than Mitchell Robinson. But for the sake of like translating someone like Michael Jordan straight from the 60s, obviously he would be a great player. But when you say dominate the league, I'm assuming like top 3 player minimum, like dominate being like a yearly MVP candidate. And with Jordan's play style, with the fact he did not take threes, did you think he was going to be a top 3 candidate in this NBA every year without the 3-pointers?
Yes.
Why is that?
It's Jordan. I don't even want to.
See,
I don't
that's
even have to
the thing. You got to say something. You got to say something.
It's the most dominant player of all time is Michael Jordan. He's the greatest player of all time. That's all I have to say. The greatest player of all time. If you want to say LeBron James, fine. But when you think of the greatest player, who do you think of? Jordan and LeBron. Those guys have earned the right to not even question the idea that if I were to throw him in anywhere, is raps. You got to remember, man. Jordan, as exceptional of an offensive player was, he was also exceptionally well.
What does that mean in this NBA, though? What does that mean?
It means he's going to give you buckets and he's going to clamp up your favorite player.
No one cares about Drew Holiday's defense from a long-term perspective. No one puts Drew Holiday in these conversations. Imagine
Drew Holiday's defense with Kobe's bag. Imagine Drew Holiday's defense with Kobe's bag. Drew Holiday would be the 3rd greatest shooting guard of all time.
Kobe's bag is deeper than MJ. I'm not even refuting that. But here's my thing. And to answer your question about MJ, yes, I'm taking into account that he may not shoot as many threes as Damian Lillard or Russell Westbrook on random nights. But I'm not mad at that, because when I look at Kevin Durant shooting 56% from the field, mostly on mid-range jump shots, I think to myself, well, Michael Jordan is one of the greatest mid-range shooters of all time as well. 10 scoring titles. His finishing of his layup package is god tier. It's like I'm kid you not. A lot of people think MJ invented jelly because of how great his layup package was. He could switch hands if he wants to. If he wants to drive it, he can. MJ is the type of guy that Ja wishes he could be. Ja probably watches a lot of MJ tape on the idea of, if I drive and I jump as high as I could switch hands if I want to on the defender, or I could throw it down. MJ could do all of those things. His footwork was impeccable. If you have good footwork in this league, as we mentioned guys like Jalen Brunson, if you got good footwork, you can go a long way, to the point where you can actually be like your offensive game is noticeable. What's in your bag is more noticeable, especially when you look at the Knicks and who their closer is, and you look at the Mavericks without Luka in the playoffs last year and who their closer was. Jalen Brunson, if you got a good pivot foot, you good. So you match that pivot foot with baldness, rings, and a gambling addiction, and a mean fadeaway. You got yourself a good player. I'm sorry, a cigar smoking fiend. You got yourself a good player.
Sorry, I have to. I don't want to go off the deep end here, and I'm not saying this because I believe it. I'm just saying it to see what your guys' reaction is to it. Michael Jordan, when he first gets into the league, is not the footwork god that we've seen. Started off with pure athleticism, obviously great finishing ability, but it wasn't until the early 90s when he first had that mid-range bag and that pull-up game that was reliable. Then obviously later on, the late 90s is when he had that completely polished. So an early MJ as this pure athlete who got a lot of his points at the rim, did not have a fully reliable jumper, who does that remind you of in today's league? Like, do you think he would be efficient scoring, like for the first 5 years of his career?
Jordan?
Earlier Jordan reminds me of
like early Jordan, like Jordan starting his career in today's NBA, just translating him over. Do you think he would be what do you think he'd shoot from the field?
50%.
I would say
50%. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's only been 2 seasons in his first 5 seasons where he shot under 50%, and it was like 48 for one of them. Maybe like mid 40s for the other, and the other 3 he was like 53, 52, like it was high 50. Right. It wasn't like barely 50%. I'm gonna say 50%. He barely averaged a 3-pointer attempted in those first 5 seasons, so I'm assuming he wouldn't even pop the 3. He'd be a midi god. And I'm gonna say, yeah, he's gonna still be efficient. He'll be an efficient
If you
scorer. I
wanted
don't
to
see why he
point
wouldn't
to
be.
like the 86 year or the 87 year where he was out there averaging, the 87 year, he's averaging 37 points a game back then. And then the next year he averaging 35 a game. So when I look at him from a player development standpoint, if I dropped him in the league now and I was just like, yeah, this is a freak athlete with with maybe a reliable shot. Like there's a difference between not being able to shoot and having a reliable shot. Like when the Warriors leave John Morant wide open from 3 and they're making him shoot. He can hit a couple of them if you give him 5. He might hit 2, might hit 3 on a good night, but that's a choice that you're going to have to be willing to live with. So when I look at Michael Jordan and I look at these teams that are in the league right now and how they would match up with him, they'll probably be like, treat him like that. Oh, you want to drive in here? You getting all your points from in the paint? Nah, bruh. Push him to the perimeter. See how he works out there. And MJ had a good mid range. You saw the game winner he had in college for the national title. He has a reliable mid range. You leave him open, he can at least knock that down. He ain't no slouch. He ain't no Giannis or no Ben Simmons. So I would say that if teams are able to contain him, and that's a big if, they're able to contain him in the paint, he's literally going to be like another Ja, where it's like they're going to be daring him to shoot and then living with it. If he's on fire, that's their fault. So I can see like 50%. That's not an egregious take at all, considering that the lowest that he has in his career is 46%, which was in his sophomore year.
So if he is a souped up Ja to start his career, where do you think he ranks in the league?
Where does Ja rank right now? I don't know. Wherever Ja ranks right now, I'm 5 spots ahead. Maybe.
I'm just saying when you're saying like pure domination as a
Right.
top 3 MVP candidate every year, I'm assuming you're talking about peak MJ and not the full length of his career. Like to start his career, those
Even
first
then, when we're talking
whatever
about
how
the
many
deep
years,
bro.
You
Any
want to go to the
season you
deep boy
talk
year?
about,
Because
like,
we can
that's
go to
peak, bro. Unless you want to talk about Washington.
I'm
unless you
saying
want to talk about Washington,
early on.
Even early on, he was
Where
arguably.
do you, I'm saying if we already kind of clarified that you guys are trying to say he's like a souped up John Morant.
I would,
Where do you think
put it
not
on me.
saying
I don't
that.
give a
That's
damn.
what
You
Z's
souped up John Morant with actually elite level defense. I'm taking that as a top 5 player in today's league. You can talk to me about the mid ranges and the shot, but all the media is going to do is just sit there and be like, oh well, imagine if he gets a jumper, he'll be complete. He'll be complete eventually. That's what we're going to work our way up to. If this is a 27-year-old MJ and he can drive in and get me 30 points a game from layups and free throws and mid-range shots, I'm taking that. I don't give a damn. We accredited seasons ago DeMar DeRozan knocking down all them damn game winners for Chicago, and for 2 to 3 weeks straight, this dude was at the top of the MVP conversations. So I mean, you mean to tell me that a Michael Jordan with more athleticism than a Chicago Bulls DeMar DeRozan with a mid-range shot to fall back on, not rely on, but to fall back on just in case, along with the defense, along with the steals, jumping out the gym, getting blocks. Like, yeah, I'm gonna say John Morant. That's what's a 6'6" John Morant.
You also have to remember this guy is like one of the most durable superstars I've ever seen. Just looking at the stat sheet, like basically every year, where if he wasn't injured, he had 2 seasons where he was injured, or 1 season where he was injured. The other season he came back from playing baseball, 80 plus games every time, 82 for a lot of them. 92, 93, he only played 78, but that's his lowest amount of games played in a season during his prime in Chicago, if you're not including his foot injury or the year he came back from playing baseball, which doesn't really count because he retired, right? Dude, there's a lot, like, especially in this day and age, man, a big thing when it comes to being like a top player in this league, or for example, the MVP voting, is durability. For example, Durant was in that top 5 list for most of it, gets injured, take him out. Devin Booker was in the All-Star conversation, got injured, take him out instantly, right? So you need to be, not only do you need to be dominant, you need to be durable, and Michael Jordan has both of those traits.
So the last thing I'll say, I know I sound like an instigator here. I think MJ would, like, if you were to tell me to give you a yes or no, I'd say yes. I just think it's easier to directly translate Shaq and Kobe's success. But like if you tell me yes or no with MJ, I'm obviously saying yes. But let's take today's MVP race into consideration. You got Jokic, Embiid, Tatum. Where does an MJ rank in the MVP race? What do you think? What kind of numbers do you think he'd put up?
I think Jokic is over him, obviously, because Jokic is like having a triple-double season as a center, being one of the most efficient seasons we've ever seen. You can't take away from that. I think I would put him over Tatum 100%.
So what about in regards to Luka?
That's what I got to think about. See, you're
See,
asking
that's
me
the
on the
thing.
spot.
Is he top
But
three?
you're
Then
asking me on
is he
the
top three?
spot.
Then I am asking you on the spot because that's the segment.
Yeah, but you got to
You
look into
you asked
it.
for
On
my
the spot,
answer.
I'm
on,
gonna say
on the
yes.
spot.
I would put.
I'm gonna say
I
yes.
would put. I would put.
I'll put MJ top 3 in this MVP race. He's top 1 as
So
a play. If you're putting prime MJ in
like,
this league, he's
you're
top
talking
1
like
in terms
who would
of players.
be who would be the second? You said like it was a Jokic, Embiid, Jordan,
Because you got to think.
or Jokic,
Yeah.
Luka, Jordan.
I think Embiid is over Luka in the MVP race right now.
I agree.
So I would say I might even go Jokic, Jordan, Embiid, and I might even put Jordan above Jokic,
Yeah,
depending on like I'd have to actually look into it. I'm not gonna pull up a
Well,
stat line out of
no,
out of
because you have
nothing.
to.
I'm not gonna
figure
pull
out
a
the
stat
team
line
he's
out of
on,
nothing.
and-
Exactly, right? It's all situations. I'm not gonna pull a stat line out of nothing. If I'm talking in terms of skill for skill or like the best players in the league, Jordan is top 1. If I put him right now, LeBron's
old.
old.
the
so
best player in the league.
If you put prime Jordan in the league right now, he's the best player in the league.
Hey, look, think about this. Think about this. When we're talking about the
that's my
best
opinion.
players in the league, a lot of the times throughout the years, we have talked about the ability to play both ways, offense and defense. The only exception we've made slightly has been Nikola Jokic, mainly because Joel Embiid is his opposition, right?
That's the thing. So with Jokic and Embiid, it seems like if you were to really just sit down and look at them from far away, that Embiid is the far better player because Embiid leads the league in scoring, great offensive player, and he's miles better defensively. We don't
really
value
don't.
defense in today's NBA. I'm not saying it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but looking at Jordan, I don't know if it was just your tone. I don't think it's a runaway that he is the best player in today's league. Just strictly translating him from the 90s.
This is how I look at it, right?
I don't think I could say that.
I look at how
That's not a knock on him.
I look at how the
It's
league
just
and
the
the
league.
fans value players from what you see, and even small, simple things like the All-Star game. It hit home to me that Joel's leading the league in scoring, and he is not an All-Star starter. But mainly because you see the comment section on the clip from Sandy yesterday talking about how it's a popularity contest. At the end of the day, it's not that deep, whatever. But it is that deep when you kind of think about it, because it's like, bro, we don't validate the things that Joel Embiid does as a basketball player are God tier phenomenal, deserve to be praised, deserve to be recognized. I told Hooper for the show, I think the only players averaging over 30 and with 10 rebounds are Giannis and Joel. And that's insane. We look at for every box that you could check when evaluating a player like Joel Embiid. How's your team doing? Check. You're leading the league in scoring. Check. How are you defensively? Can you play both sides of the ball? Check. I can do it better than the guy that's about to win the third straight MVP, mind you, and been doing it for years, miles ahead of him. And so it's like that box is checked. So when you look at, but if you were to drop a guy like Michael Jordan into the league right now, and you mean to tell me that think about this, how many highlight plays would Michael Jordan get in today's modern society of House of Highlights and Bleacher Report? The highlight plays that he would get, the bodies that he could get when he that he could dunk on, the defensive plays too, because I think I like to give credit to House of Highlights for they always find a way to not only implement like a crazy alley-oop but sequences. Imagine how many sequences Michael Jordan had one of the greatest sequences of all time in the NBA Finals in his last one. The steal on Malone all the way down the court for the game winner. That was a sequence in and of its own in a game 6 of a finals. So imagine Michael Jordan and his sequences that he could have in today's league, which will make you, the viewer, say, oh, he's a two-way threat and he's an elite at both sides of the floor. How the hell am I going to look at anyone else and say that they're the best player in the world? Well, we got a Giannis. He can do the same thing. We got a Joel. He can do the same thing. Luka and Jokic, they can't do the same thing. They're offensive shows. Luka isn't a performance in and of himself. He is a show, but he isn't a great defender by no means. You drop Michael Jordan in here, Michael Jordan's cooking him every time defensively. So it's really going to be a testament if that happened. I mean, if that happened, that would never happen. But in this hypothetical, I think that it would really test the viewers and the fans as to what they really value. Because, like you said, Giannis got back-to-back MVPs and a depoy, and we validate that. That's crazy. We can put that like neck and neck with other guys from the 80s and the 90s and past eras. But Joel Embiid is capable of getting both, and it's just and no one cares because he's a troll. I don't, and he's annoying, and he gets the free throw. Like, what do you mean? It was cool when Harden was doing it. We're celebrating that right now. What do you mean? That's interesting to me. So you put Michael Jordan in here, the landscape of how they view players right now changes because you got a guy that can do two things elite, two things really at an elite level. I don't know. That's an interesting way to look at it. That got me fired up. Let me get some starry.
We could talk about this for hours. I know we need to end soon, but the last thing I'll say about Joel Embiid, I was trying to think about why people forget about him in general and the Sixers. Philly's obviously like a pretty big sports city, and Joel, from a distance, as a troll, is cool for the media. I think it's because he's first off a foreigner, but also he's like low key boring. Like, when's the last time you saw Joel Embiid like act up aside from like the celebration? Because he'll do that. He'll go on Twitter. But like guys like Giannis and Luka, other foreigners, are like funny in their post game interviews. Like they're all quirky and whatever with Giannis and the McNuggets after the
Their
championship
play
win.
style as well.
That's a
Like
big thing to do with it as well.
Embiid, like I'm not hating. He has a great play style, but it's boring to watch. Like, have you ever sat down and watched the full?
I don't think
game?
it's a great play style.
It's not. To be honest, like it results in winning. He is at the top in the stat sheet. He is a great defender. So this is not taken away from how he is as a basketball player. He's still a top tier talent. But do I want to watch it?
Why did he pause so long?
No. I would rather watch a.
No, I don't mind hating on him. He hasn't won.
That's
He
another
hasn't
thing
worked
too.
for him in the playoffs. It's not a winning style in the playoffs yet. I don't mind hating on it. I think the free throw baiting is cool in that you can get yourself to kind of jumpstart an offense or at least get a couple points out of nowhere. It's awful in that you have no offensive rhythm. If you go 3 trips down the court and it's Harden at the line, Embiid at the line, Harden at the line, then you got these guys like Tobias Harris who are volume scorers that need to be active and actively shooting to make baskets. He could go through 5-6 minutes without touching the ball for more than 10 seconds because of this ISO
and that's
play
another
and the foul
aspect
baiting.
of
Like
when
that's
people
what
are
I don't like about it.
evaluating Joel and Joker is they're like, okay, when you look at their games offensively, like offensively scoring wise, Joel's got a deeper bag than Jokic. And that's accustomed to, like, when you think about how unstoppable he is to guard, because he can shoot the mid range, he can shoot the fadeaway, he can shoot the 3-point ball. He can, if you foul him, he's going to the line, he's just shooting it at 84%. He does his Meineken drills, like he can under the rim, he's perfect too. So another thing that makes it different between Joel and Jokic is that with Jokic you bring in the playmaking. I was saying to myself the other day, would Joel Embiid get more recognition if he averaged 6 to 7 assists per game compared to 3? Listen,
He'd be the clear MVP candidate.
Now, when you look at the way that Philadelphia is running their offense, like you said, ISO ball, guys get out of rhythm, there's stoppage, guys are catching their breath, all this BS. It's like the way that they run it is it's Joel or die, and it's just how it seems, or Harden occasionally whenever he wants to have a first step. But for Joel Embiid standards, it's like he has so much to his offensive game that he can provide. If he added playmaking to that, he'd be everybody's favorite. Because the argument now, you can't argue a playmaking call with Jokic because Jokic makes it look so easy. Look at it. Jokic is doing it at 15 miles per hour. So Joel could do it too at 14 miles or 18 miles per hour. He's a little bit faster than Jokic is. But Joel can do it too. You got handles. You're taking the ball up the court. Pass the damn ball. Maybe you like leading the league. You got to think you are leading the league in scoring. You are not a starter. Something ain't working. All right, maybe if I cut back a little bit, I already led the league in scoring last year. Maybe if I start passing the ball, people might like me a little bit more, because who wouldn't like a player that's getting his teammates involved and still being dominant offensively? Exactly.
That's a lot easier said than done to just add like a playmaking ability. So I'm not gonna like get on him for that. We should wrap up though. We are nearing the end. I guess my whole thing on it is, yeah, Jordan would be top 1. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to say, but I think we should wrap up.
I made it through the whole episode without one of these two calling me out.
That's 1 down, 4 more episodes to go, ladies and gentlemen.
1 down,
4 more.
4 to go.
Pause.
Wait, what?
No way, bro. No way.
What?
End the episode, bro. End the episode.
We'll see you guys in episode 48.
What did I say?
48.